and welcome to the Webcast for Monday, December 15th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning shows some very familiar features. We still have Tule fog locked over the entire Central Valley, as well as a shallow marine layer bringing low clouds and fog to some of the coastal areas. But once again, outside of those areas, sunny skies prevail, and we'll see that continue today. Persistence has been the name of the game with this pattern for quite some time now, and today is not going to be any different. Here's a look at the forecast highs, and while they have been very persistent, it's worth noting that they remain 10 to 15 degrees above average in a lot of cases, which is really hard to sustain for as long as we have. So while it's been a dull stretch of weather, it's been impressive at the same time that we've been able to sustain 70s and 80s for so long this time of year. Of course, you also see where the big exception remains with 40s and 50s across the Central Valley as Tule fog remains in place, and that has certainly been impressive as well, with just about a month now of near continuous low clouds and fog across the valley. Minimum humidity will be mainly in the 12 to 25% range away from the much wetter San Joaquin Valley and its surrounding foothills over the next couple of days, before a moistening trend begins on Wednesday. We'll also have a little touch of offshore flow with us over the next couple of days. Winds will remain light overall, but local north to northeast winds of 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts to 35 miles per hour will surface mainly across the wind-prone mountains of Southern California through Tuesday afternoon, strongest from this evening into Tuesday morning. As we look at the upper-level maps for this week, the story remains high pressure, at least to start the week, although that story will finally start to change over the next several days. Pacific troughing will start to weaken the ridge as the week goes on, opening the door for unsettled weather to start to drop into Central California, and a major pattern change is likely next week as troughing becomes dominant over the entire West Coast. The first signs of change come around midweek as a weather system passes to our north. This will be a very minor system for us as the bulk of the activity does remain to our north. Nonetheless, showers will likely affect Central California north of a Monterey to Fresno County line late Tuesday night into Wednesday. Accumulations will be light, up to half an inch across the Central Sierra with little elsewhere, and snow levels will be high, mainly above 8,000 feet. As that system passes by, northwest to west winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts to 50 miles per hour will surface across the mountain ridges and desert passes Tuesday night into Wednesday. Northerly winds of similar strength will then develop over Southern California from Santa Barbara County eastward to the Mojave Slopes later Wednesday into early Thursday, but humidity will remain elevated as those northerly winds occur. It's also possible, though not certain, that the windier conditions during the midweek period may finally be enough to break or at least start to crack the unrelenting Tule fog that has plagued the Central Valley for weeks in this stable, stagnant pattern. Following that minor midweek system, another couple of dry days are likely across the entire region Thursday and Friday. Rain chances will likely return to Central California this weekend, with more substantial accumulations likely starting across the Sierra, especially by Sunday. Snow levels will start to fall, but will remain fairly high, likely around 8,000 feet, and Southern California will remain dry through the weekend. However, there remain strong indications that the wet pattern will overspread the entire state next week, with significant rainfall accumulations likely in all areas. While there are still many finer details to work out, confidence is high on widespread rain occurring across the entire region through the end of the year. Here's a look from a blend of models on potential rain amounts over the next 2 weeks or so. Again, for Southern California, it's going to take until next week for this to happen, but this is a very strong signal on the model, so that lends confidence to the idea that this wet pattern will in fact take shape. Dead fuel moistures have been on steady drying trends ever since the rain we received about a month ago, and those trends will continue for a few more days before they start to reverse as the cooler and wetter weather starts to arrive. Of course, most of our wildland fuels are in the live category, and while it has been dry for a while, we still have a strong green up present across the region. As a result, we'll continue to carry little to no risk for new significant fires this week, though some light initial attack will remain possible as the warm and dry weather continues for several more days. The upcoming pattern change should provide a fresh boost of moisture for continued vegetation growth across the region, and will keep fire danger very low. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Wednesday, December 17th.